I
This
would like
conference
to,
will now be recorded.
yeah,
Hello.
yeah, tell me.
I'm new to this class.
Okay. So last time actually
Today
we did not,
today only
yeah,
today only I just joined. Which topics you are going to cover? Just
okay.
tell me.
So your name is Ramesh, right?
This conference will now be recorded.
So one system to another system. Let me take one example. This is a front end we call as a web application where the front end people can always hit the data, right? So based on the request only, we'll be sending the back. So this is a database. So in middle, we have a MuleSoft. This is a MuleSoft. Okay, so now what is happening? So if it is a Java, the user can directly hit the database and get the data back to the client. Okay, let's suppose if it is a Java call. So in lieu of going a direct hit with the database, now we are implementing a middle layer called a MuleSoft. Here what will happen? The web client, which means a front-end application, Amazon, AW, like Amazon, Flipkart, or anything, okay, who is trying to hit the service. So now what will happen? A request will come to MuleSoft. What is MuleSoft is going to do? Okay. So in lieu of establishing a direct relation between the web and a database, here MuleSoft is going to take care about the relation. So what MuleSoft will do? It will go and hit the database. And now database is going to return the value. The same value will be returned back to the client. Okay. So that is the advantage of using the MuleSoft. Okay, now I will tell you what is the point of going with the MuleSoft if there is a requirement which is already filled with the Java, right? So you can directly call by using the Java. So now why you are going with a middle layer without having a Java code? There is no code of Java here. If you are implementing a MuleSoft, there is no such connection establishment between your web and database. So it's a direct call from web to MuleSoft, and MuleSoft is going to take care the call with the backend database, and it will respond back. Same response will be going back to the client. So now the question is, why do we not to go for MuleSoft if the requirement is already fulfilled with Java? So I will tell you. I will take another slide now. So there is a web client. There is another web client. There is some mobile user. There are some different third-party vendors. There are some different people who is trying to consume your service. The database is same. Okay, this is the database, and in middle we have same. Earlier we have only one client who is hitting the MuleSoft, right? Now I just change the architecture to something different. So this is a Mule. So now what will happen? Earlier only one connection. There is a directly established with the database, and they can get the data if it is a Java. So now what happens is your front end applications are started increasing because users are more. Okay, Amazon having a mobile site. Okay, Amazon is having a sorry application and mobile application, some integration with some Facebook or integration with some third party sites, which is multiple site one, site two. There are like a number of opportunities are increased from the website because they want to sell the product. They want to sell the product for n number of different platforms. If they are using only one platform, the customer might not come to this platform, right? Mobile. If they are stick with only a website, most of the people will not go to website as they have using already a mobile applications. So it is very useful for them to directly get the mobile application and get the user data. So now what happens if they are directly establishing with the connection with the website? Now what about these users, these platforms? It is going to be very difficult to maintain them. So now that is the reason we are introducing MEL as a middle layer. And now what happens is web application will hit the mobile, sorry, MEL. Mobile application will hit MEL. Some Facebook third party site will hit. Similarly, all the applications who are trying to get the data will hit MEL. Now what will MEL do? MEL will not go every time with every request. It only goes one time. Okay, it only goes one time to the database and it get the data back to the MEL, and here the data will be returned back to the client to the different users. So the advantage of using middle layer is there is no burden on your application. The database will be safe, the applications are also safe. The complete responsibility of handling the data will be taken care by your MEL. Got it? Any questions as of now?
No, it's going good.
Perfect.
Yeah, like will there be any latency issues for that one?
Latency issues means?
Like we are using some mule in the middle, right? So when the application is requesting a data, so with the data will be fast, or will be
Yeah,
some, there will be some latency.
no. So it is very fast because you know this is running in the different server. This is running in the different server. Okay, these are the different web clients, right? So the you will not feel any latency. Okay, so when it comes to the data point of view, again we have a different scope of increasing the bulk data things. Okay, because the MuleSoft he is having a capability of increasing the, if there is a load, we can automatically increase the size so that load cannot be impacting your response time. So it won't be a late. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so don't think into that much deeper right now because that's later on you will be getting that load point of funnel. Because right now you need to understand the concept of like how the MEL will be working in between. So just I'm making you understand where we exactly use this as a middle layer. Because you know you might, as you are new to this platform, you might get an idea, right? Why there is a Java, there is a number of .NET, there is a number of softwares available. Why do we need this MuleSoft? So MuleSoft is needed, or any middle layer is needed only when there is a number of users and number of integrations are there. Okay, so if there are number of users are coming in and requesting the same type of data, you don't need to develop an individual service to hit the database. We can only create a middle layer, and this layer is going to be interacting with your backend systems and responding back to the all clients who is going to be given the data. Okay, so now I'll just move bit forward. Okay, just tell me.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me, Ramesh.
Why we need MuleSoft? It's an integration platform. You are saying that we have Oracle Fusion and Delboom, and why we need MuleSoft?
Okay, you know there are n number of integration tools are available in the market. Okay, so why do we need Mule? Okay, you know Tipco is there, Delbumi is there, Oracle Jabos is there. There are n number of. Okay, so each one has their own advantage and disadvantages. Okay, when it comes to the Mule, the advantages are more. Okay. Hmm. See, Mule, I can say Mule is one of the leading integration tool now. So after merging with the Salesforce, now we have different types of integration connectors available, and they are also allowing us to provide with the cloud platform. So if the application is developed with the TIBCO, and again you have to maintain your own servers and develop deploying the application into that server, and that is again additional effort for your team to make it deployed and maintaining. Okay, but when it comes to the MuleSoft, it has its own cloud platform, and managing your application is very easy. Okay, you don't need to spend much time for getting an interface and all. Okay, everything is available. You just need to log into Anypoint platform. As soon as you log into Anypoint platform, you will be able to manage your deployed application, as well as applying the security, designing, maintaining. Everything is available in this platform. This is a cloud platform, okay, where you can access this thing from the browser. You will be able to see what are the different things available in the Mule Anypoint platform to manage your application. Okay. Okay, so and also like develop deployment. Okay, so right now if you want to deploy any application to a server, where do you go actually? Local wise, you can test it and verify, but you want to test it globally, and the customer needs to use it. So if you are not having a server interaction directly, it is very difficult for us to get and deploy the application. So even as a learner now, you can able to directly deploy your applications to Cloud Hub. Okay, this is a Cloud Hub. Okay, so here Anypoint platform is an cloud based application where you can access if you have an account. Okay, so we can get the free account for 1 month. Okay, every 1 month it will be expired. We need to create a new account if you want to test it, the functionalities. So here we have a number of options. Okay, when the situation comes, I will explain one by one. And as you ask me a question like what is an advantage of using MuleSoft, one of the biggest advantages they are having a cloud platform where we can deploy your application directly into runtime manager. You don't need to maintain the server. The maintenance of servers will be taken care by the MuleSoft. Okay, so that's the one of the biggest advantage. Okay, so when it comes to Mule ESB and other ESB tools, Mule ESB is a complete integration platform and enables Mule to address non-functional requirements such as reliability, high availability, scalability, and enterprise security. What does this mean? Okay, non-functional requirement. Functional requirements are something like which might be interacting with your database and again getting the response from the database. That's something like your requirement to develop your data. Sorry, develop an API. But non-functional requirements are different, which means like after developing, where do you deploy? How do you make sure that your application is available 100% availability? Okay, and how will you secure your API? So those are all different things which we can have very simplified in the MuleSoft. So that is the reason when it's leading now in the market. And also Mule is very easy to learn. Okay, so even a layman can understand and they can start developing the applications in by using the Mule. But when it comes to the other integration tools like TIBCO, JBoss and all, it's very complicated to understand initially to start developing the things. Okay, that's another advantage of. Okay, it has a drag and drop functionality where you can directly establish the connection between us. Okay, Mule provides an into a visual development environment. Anypoint Studio allows developers to focus on high-level concepts rather than technical details. Let's go to the Anypoint Studio. Okay, so if you see here, this is a visual thing. So if you go here, do you understand this code? It is very complicated to understand this code. Yeah, because this code is having all the XML data, and it is having all the it is having all the data which is in like XML format, which is going to be converted into Spring. But by looking at this, if the person is from non-technical background, how do they understand it? It's very complicated thing, right? To make an user can understand this. But when it comes to here, it's a very simple thing. So if you see the image is itself telling it's a listener. It is saying set payload. It is having some choice router. Okay, this is something visually you are able to see the things without worrying about the code. The code is generating automatically. You will not generate this code manually. If you go here, the code, whatever you drag, if I drag something here, okay, that code will be automatically generated here. So just now I dragged this code is automatically generating in the configuration XML. So that means which is that much easy to learn the things here, okay, rather than technical details. In lieu of understanding the technical details, we can directly see the visual thing and how it will start processing. We can able to understand very easily, okay. MuleSoft's AnyPoint technology. Mule has an instance API connectivity to hundreds of the most popular on-premises and cloud-based application and services. There are connectors also integrate proprietary interfaces such as SAP, TIBCO, Oracle, Cyber, CRM, PayPal. There are n number of connectors available in the MuleSoft, which makes us our life very easy. Okay, if someone developed a code in Oracle JBoss or some other things, okay, so still you can able to connect the things from here MuleSoft, which means that there are pre-developed connectors which are available and you can directly use them in your development. So it is very easy to understand and implement the things in by using the MuleSoft. Okay, so you don't need to, this is the code which is generated internally. So but when it comes to the flow, this is the flow, okay. So whatever you flow develop, it internally converts into code. That is the reason we can say no code development we can do. Only we will provide the settings, you know. Let's suppose you installed any mobile application or any web application or anything. If you want to log in, you need to provide the connection details like your username and password, right? The same way we are going to provide our username and password or some basic details. Wherever there is a blank, you just need to fill that with the proper comments. So then it will be able to catch up with that respect to API. So till here, any questions? As you asked me that question, I answered your question with different way. Any questions as of now? You can shoot your questions. I can understand if there is a non-technical background, you might
I
have
have a
some
question.
questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Uh, so we are developing something in Java or PHP or in some other language.
Mhm.
So by using MuleSoft, do we need that language support, or we can directly call it from HTML pages?
No, I don't understand your question. Can you repeat again in a
Okay.
different way?
So we are developing an application in Java,
Okay,
and the backend will be MySQL.
okay.
So both will be there, even though we are using MuleSoft, right?
No, no. See, earlier you are establishing a direct relation with the database. So that is the reason
Yes.
I told you. Earlier there is a web client who is directly hitting the database, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is a direct interaction, point to point. We can say web and database, point to point integration. But when you are
Okay.
using Mule, there is no scope of going directly to the database. You need to come to Mule and Mule will go to the database. Got it? Here there is
Yeah.
no such interaction again with the direct. So why we use Mule first of all is like to eliminate the point to point integration. You know, point to point means web application interacting with the database. This application interacting with the database. These are called a point to point integration. By using Mule, we can eliminate point to point integration. Okay.
Okay.
So there is no such call directly to the database. Only this is going to be hit the database. That to one connection will be established, and the rest of the things will be maintained by this, and will be response back to n number of clients at a time who can consume our API.
So, and one more question, Java, PHP, and MySQL, all these are free services,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
So, Mule
Mm.
is a free service or it's a chargeable thing?
So for you to learn and to implement, everything is free. But when it comes to an enterprise level, they will purchase the license because they need to have the servers here. Okay, let's suppose
Oh,
if you want to deploy an application, where do you deploy? You deploy it in the runtime manager. Okay, in the runtime
yes.
manager, there are servers. Okay, servers are maintained and managed by the MuleSoft team. So let's
Oh,
suppose if it is a free and you are installing hundreds of applications, just see these are the applications which are working and started and running on my platform. So
okay.
if I have thousand applications are deployed and there is a server usage, right? So how do the MuleSoft will sustain? Okay,
Okay.
it's a
Yeah.
purchased thing. So for enterprise level, it has to be purchased.
Around how much cost? Like,
There are the subscriptions. Okay, so again, platinum, gold, and diamond, there are different types of subscription levels. Based on that, they will provide the support and chargeability.
okay, I'll go
Okay,
into the website
so
and I'll check it that. Thank you.
yeah, you don't need to worry about the chargeability for individual person level. That's an enterprise, that means organization level. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So any other question? Okay, so let's come back to the first slide again. So what is in ESB? So as we discussed, there are a number of ESBs available, right? So enterprise service bus, we call ESB is a enterprise service bus. So enterprise service bus can be MuleSoft, can be JBoss, can be TIBCO, or anything. All the things are fulfilling the same requirement, where there are different applications are integrating with each other. So this is general architecture for ESB, not the MuleSoft. MuleSoft also following the same architecture. Okay. Now, before going to MuleSoft, okay, we need to understand what is an ESB. Okay, what we call as an ESB. TIBCO we call ESB, MuleSoft we call ESB, JBoss we call ESB. All the layers which are using as a middle layer we can call as an ESB. So in generally, ESB is a enterprise service bus. Okay, an enterprise service bus is a software architecture model used to design and implementing a communication between mutually integrated software application in a service oriented architecture. So what does it mean? An ESB is a middle layer which can be used to integrate between any number of applications, which might be web services, a database, or Salesforce, or SAP, anything. Okay, by using the MuleSoft, we can integrate with all those service oriented architecture applications. Okay, key characteristics of ESB. By using the ESB, we can develop the streamless development. That means without any interaction, like interruption, we can develop the applications in middle layer, and we can start giving that application to a number of users, and they can consume and they can start integrating with the backend systems. Supports multiple binding strategies, which means like backend system is giving data in one formats, and the like front end system is required in the different format. That can be handled by using the ESBs. Routing of the messages, performing the data transformation, real-time monitoring, exception handling, service security. All these are the key characters. Intelligent routing means routing the message to different routes. Let's suppose you have a different conditions. Based on the condition, you need to satisfy the requirement. Then we can route the message accordingly. Monitoring means, whatever the application we develop, we can monitor where the exception is occurring and how to handle that exceptions, and we can also provide the security. This is the general thing. Okay, you don't need to keep in mind about the things. This can be achieved by any ESB. Coming to the question, there are n number of things available: Red Hat, Mule, IBM
Srinath,
WebSphere, Oracle. Yeah.
uh, I just want to know what is service-oriented architecture. Can you just elaborate on it? Just a definition, something like that.
Service oriented architecture, anything which is requesting and response. So let's suppose you are going to consume some web service. Right now, there is a Facebook. Okay, Facebook is having its own platform, right? So if you want to get some response from the Facebook, you will hit the Facebook application, right? So that is going to be response back to you. That is a service oriented architecture. We can say that you are hitting something and you are getting the response. Okay, so now if you are going to one website, you are hitting some request. Okay, it is going to the database, and from the backend it is going to collect the data, and it is going to be respond back to you. Okay, so these are the service oriented architecture applications, web services. Okay, all these are service oriented architecture applications. Okay, any application which is responding back will be service oriented.
Okay, thank
Got
you.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the different types of ESB tools available in the market. Okay, we don't need to much worry about that. Just for your FYI understanding. Okay. So now come to MEAL ESB. So as of now, we learned what is an ESB, and there are a number of available. From now onwards, we will never touch all these things. We will only learn MEAL ESB. Okay, so MEAL ESB is a lightweight Java-based enterprise service bus and integration platform that allows developers to connect applications together quickly and easily, enable them to exchange the data. Whatever you develop in AnyPoint this AnyPoint Studio will be internally converted into Java. This code is internally converting into a Spring framework, and it will be deployed in JVM. JVM is a Java Virtual Machine. Okay, you don't see all such things where it is happening, but internally what is happening is the code will be converted into Spring framework, and then it is deploying into Java Virtual Machine. Yes, our intention to explain this is the same. MELSB is a lightweight Java-based enterprise application service bus. Okay. So because without having a Java in your local system, you won't even able to run a single application from AnyPoint to Studio. So that's the thing. We need Java to make to run our MEAL application. Okay. MEAL ESB is an open source and the best out of all rest of open source ESBs, since it has provided many key characteristics and not vendor dependency. Most of the connectors which are developed with MEAL ESBs are open source only, because you don't need to pay anything for using those connectors and configurations. Okay, all those components are developed and given it for free. So because as I am from my personal laptop, I can still develop anything and I can do a real-time application without having any interruption. So if you go to the modules, all these modules, and there are n number of modules available in the Exchange, all are provided for free of cost. You don't need to pay anything to consume all these things. These are all developed by a Java developers. The code internally written in Java, and they have exposed it to outside the world, which means that these are all using for our development purpose without any cost. Okay, so that meaning of this. And the key advantages are service creation and hosting. Service creation means the application creation, and hosting means deploying and maintaining, which means you can deploy to the server. Okay, without having a server also you can start deploying and doing it, because infrastructure level you don't need to worry about that, because that is going to be taken care by the MuleSoft. If you have a single laptop, you can start developing and using your infrastructure by using the AnyPoint platform. That means cloud-based services. This is that much easy to get the hosting point of service mediation. You know, mediation is meant like having a message transformation between one platform to another platform. The mediation is very simplified here. Message routing. You know, this message routing concept is something like routing the message from one application to another applications. Data transformation, transforming of data from one format to another format. Okay, so just come here. Initially I might be receiving the data into some JSON format. JSON format can be readable by a human being. But my finally when the client get the response, they are expecting in a XML form. Okay, they just expecting in the XML. So the transformation of data is very simple in MEL because you don't need to spend much time on transformation logic. All are like a drag and drop, and you can simply transform the data according to the client requirement. Those and all we'll start learning the things in the day by day. Okay, coming to the MEL ESB. So this diagram help us to understand what exactly we do. Okay, whatever the downside we are seeing. Okay, these are like source destination system. Okay, whatever you are seeing the top side, those are all the source systems. Okay, source means like any web client. Okay, who is consuming your application, just like the Salesforce is Flipkart or Amazon is developed the service and all users are using those services, right? Those are the front end users, which means source. These are the source users, and these are the destination users, which the destination systems, which means data stored into these systems, database, JMS, file, Oracle database, IBM DB2, SAP systems. There are n number of systems available, right? Backend systems. All these are the data storage systems. And the front end, we have the applications who is going to consume your services. When a client is requesting the data, it comes to the MEL, and the MEL will be going and hitting the backend systems, and it will be respond back to the clients. And the same way, the response will be returned. Here only one connection is established between these applications, and complete responsibility of data handling will be taken care by the CSB. And here we can do transformation. Here we can send the data to multiple systems. Here we can play with anything. Okay, according to what the client is expecting, accordingly we can drag and drop the required components, and we will return the response back to the client. That's a thing of overview about the MEL ESB. The advantages we have already discussed, so I don't want to waste the time again. Okay, till here any questions?
Arnav, I have a question.
Go ahead.
As you said, we use connectors to drag and drop. If there's any error in the connector itself, like you have Java, we have Java in the backend. So if there is any issue with that, do we need to fix the backend, or is there any other process for that?
You mean to say the connector which is developed in the Java, if there is any code issue in the connector?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So these are all the pre-developed and tested connectors. Okay. So when you are using these connectors, okay. So let's suppose this is a database. Database is having a different operation: select, delete, insert, update. There are different operations, right? We all know the select operation, insert operation, delete operation. Let's suppose I am taking on select operation. So this is a pre-developed connector. You will never see any code here. This will provide only the graphical view, and if you go to the XML, it will only show the code level. It will show this XML file. Okay. You will never see any code here to fix any issue. Okay. And also, as of now, it's been 5 years I'm working into this MuleSoft, but I never see any such type of issues in the code level from the select. Obviously, Mule team is there and they are working on different updates. The connectors will be automatically upgraded, but we will never touch any code in the connector level. And also, you will never see any code here. Okay,
Okay, yeah,
it's
that
all
was
internally developed. Yeah,
okay. Thank you.
these are the dependencies. I just tagged the database selector, right? what it internally do is it will get all the dependency jar files. These are the base files for this database. Whatever you are seeing the database here, right? It is taking the values from these files. You will never touch these files. These are all to use this database connector. These are all something developed backend. So that's what how do it works means because of these jar files which internally developed by the Java team. That means the Mule team has been developed and they have created given these jar files. And these jar files also you will never download. Okay, drag as soon as you drag from here to here, automatically all these will be downloaded. Okay, so there is no such concept of editing something in the Java. You don't you will never touch anything in the Java here. Okay, just forget why I'm stressing here about the Java is because without having a Java, your Anypoint Studio will not work because it is running in the whatever you are seeing the deployment here, right? That is internally deploying into JVM, which is Java Virtual Machine, which will come in the Java package. To use that, we need to have a Java in your local system. Okay. Am I answered your question?
Yes, yes. Done. Thank you.
Yeah. Please go ahead with the other guys if you guys have any questions. As this is the starting phase, you can understand the basic things. So, can I go ahead with the other topic?
Sure, you can start.
So let's go with the Mule architecture. In Mule, we have 3 layers. Okay, this is very important in terms of real time. Okay, so people might confuse always with these layers. Okay, I will clearly explain what are the different layers. Okay, first I will come one layer. These are the just general topics. Okay, this will not impact anything with your development. Okay, to make you understand what is Mule, I am just trying to explain. Okay, this is a Mule. Okay, and this is a database. So as I said, there are 3 layers. I'm telling about the first layer. Any MuleSoft layer which is connecting with the backend system. Okay, any MuleSoft layer which is connecting with the backend system. From now onwards, I will use backend system for database, Salesforce, web services, anything which you have the data and you are getting the data from that system. I call them as a backend services or backend systems because you know, right, database, always use database as a reference. Okay, database is having the data, so which means backend system. I can call backend system because it has some data with table, columns and rows, right? Any MuleSoft system which is going and hitting the database is called as a system layer. Okay, system layer. Keep in mind that any MuleSoft system which is going and hitting the database, we call as a system API or system layer. We need to understand this because in the real time we always use this terminology. What layer we have developed that system API. So what is the layer we are getting an issue? Experience API. What is the layer we are having an issue? Process A. So this type of terminology I want to make you understand because if you guys will go to any company, you don't need to feel those terminology as new. without telling the terminology, I can able to tell the session, but it was very difficult later on if you heard this type of terminology. Okay, why I'm stressing here is any mule system, any mule API which is going and hitting the database, we call as a system layer or system API. Okay, system API. So now I will draw one more. Any front-end system, any front-end system which is hitting the MuleSoft, any front-end system which is which is hitting the MuleSoft, we call as a experience API. Any front-end system which is hitting MuleSoft, we call as a experience. EXPERIENC, experience. Okay, keep in mind this terminology. Just we have three words. Okay, experience API, system API, and process API. Okay, so just wanted to make you stress, because if you understand today, you will never face any difficulty to understand this terminology. Okay, where I'm using always with the system experience and process API. I am very clear. Okay, any front end system, okay, any front end application which might be your Flipkart or Amazon or anything, who is hitting you, who is consuming your web service called Mule, that is always hitting the experience API. This API is a MuleSoft experience API. Okay, this is called MuleSoft system API. Okay, how the data will go? First, data will come to the MuleSoft experience API, then it will go to MuleSoft system API. Okay, and now system API going and hitting the database, and the data is coming back from database to Mule system API, and system API is returning the data back to experience API. This experience API is returning data back to the client who is requesting the data. So in this case, Flipkart is asking some data from Mule, and Mule experience API is receiving the data request, and it is asking the Mule system API to give the response back, and this response will be carried forward to this experience API, and this experience API is going to return the data back to the client. Okay, so this is how the data will be transformed from one API to another API. Apart from these two these two APIs, we have another API which is not mandatory every time, but if there is a requirement to integrate with multiple systems, we have a process API. In these two APIs, system and experience, okay, do you have any questions? Okay, cool. I want to tell the same thing, but I will be including different architecture now. So just bear with me for some time. I will draw and explain. Okay. As usual, this is a Flipkart. Okay. Flipkart need some information regarding the customer. Okay, they want complete information regarding the customer. Okay, customer name, customer username, customer email ID, customer address. Address contains city, state, zip code, everything. Okay, and they are requesting that data. Okay, now what will happen? Okay, as we already discussed, any request which is directly coming to the MuleSoft is a experience API, which is experience layer. I will call now experience API. Any system which is connecting with the backend systems, which is a database. Okay, database we call as a system API. We call as a SYS now. Okay, so we have experience API which is connecting with the front end applications. We have system API which is connecting with the backend layers, which is a database. Okay, and now customer is asking username, user details, and address. But the user details are available in the database, but the user address is not available in the database. It is available in the Salesforce. User related address details are available in Salesforce. Now there is another system API which is connecting with the Salesforce to get the address. And now how many system APIs are there? Here we have two system APIs. One system API is to get user details. Another system API is used to get the address details. Now these two data needs to be clubbed somewhere, right? Yes, that is the where we need to use process API. Okay, that is where we use process API. So this is not mandatory if your data needs to be not modified. Okay, in this case this process API request will come to the experience API will come and hit the process API, and the process API will hit two system APIs. One is database, another one is the Salesforce. We are getting all the user information from the database. You have so and so blah 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 user information here, and then address information for the same user is available in the process API. These two will be clubbed as a single and will be sent back to the client as a response. Now the same response will be delivered within a couple of seconds. Okay, so now the thing is, why do we need the process layer? Process layer is required only when your data needs to be modified in between. Here we do modification with the data. Here we do connection with the backend system. Here we do connection with the front end system. It is too early for you guys to make all this, remember, but if you understand this architecture, if you go to the real time also, you will not be facing any challenges to understand the architecture of the project, because as you are learning at one point of time you will go and play somewhere in the projects, right? So that time if I will explain everything as one layer, you will feel very difficult. So that's the reason I'm making you understand what is what in the day one itself. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me. Any question. If you feel that is very silly also, it matters here. Please ask. Tomorrow onwards, we'll be going to how to install and how to practice and how to use AnyPoint Studio, and we'll start topics one by one. We have a number of topics listed. I'll be explaining everything one by one. Okay. So today I'll be winding up. If you guys
Yeah,
have any
hello.
questions, we'll be discussing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, what is the duration?
So 30 days I'll be explaining all the concepts. Okay, which means within the 20 days I will cover all the topics. Okay, I will cover the topics. If you guys have the questions and if you need any assistance, I will be helping with couple of sessions for that as well. You know, for attending the interview, you guys need some realistic questions and things, right? For that, I will be taking addition. But the concept wise, it won't take much time, as I will be explaining daily one topic and I will ask you guys to practice every day. So that's how it should be. Within 30 days, we will be closing this.
Okay, what are the main topics on this mail? I mean, the which is the mandatory the topic should we learn?
There is no such thing. Okay, so if you come to the topics, okay, you see here each one has its own scope. For processing the record, we need fetch. For routing the message from one flow, based on the condition, you need this. Scatter gather for parallel processing. Error handling for handling the errors. Global error handling for handling the global. Every topic is important, and you don't. I can't say that just learn these two and go out, right? Whatever the topics I listed here is a mandatory topics, so that you can familiar with complete understanding about the mule and how do you implement an application. If I am not wrong, I misunderstood your question. I might answer the correctly. Let me know if I
Yeah,
misunderstood.
I understand. And one more thing, see, as you told initially, is it will going to support for all tools like Java, Salesforce, and .NET, everything. Okay, so in that, if I got in real time, if I got in Java or .NET, so I'm not at all aware of those tools. So I'm not a technical guy, but how to handle that situation? Why? Because I don't
See,
know. Once I joined in future company, so I don't know which tool they have developed their existing project. So I'm not at all aware of that.
okay, I got your question. Okay, okay. So the thing is, to implement any application by using the MuleSoft, you don't need any technical background with that system. Let's suppose you are using a database, right? Okay, you are using a database as a connector here. So let's me drag the database here. So to use the database connector, I don't need any knowledge in terms of database. I can directly use the query. If you don't have the query, it will be a procedure or something. The database team is going to provide you all these details. Let's suppose SQL query. To get the data for that particular requirement, the database team is going to provide you the database query, and you will be using that database query, and you will be providing that input parameters. And you don't need knowledge on the database because you are just using the inputs here, just copy pasting the, the statement, something like select star from emp underscore table or something. Okay, usually you don't need any knowledge on the backend system. So that's the only confusion you guys have initially, because I'm talking about the Salesforce, I'm talking about the Java, I'm talking about different backend systems, right? You don't require any knowledge. Let me say you one more thing. Let's suppose I'm using Salesforce. Salesforce is having different operation. Okay, but to use the Salesforce, okay, you don't need to learn the Salesforce because it's not mandatory. If I want to use the Salesforce, if I drag the Salesforce create connector, okay, that connector will be coming here. Okay, you just need to know what are the inputs I need to pass. Here there is no code, right? Everything is a drop down. Salesforce team is going to provide the connection details. If you go here, they will provide the username, password, security token, everything. As soon as you provide the things, you will be able to get the type of the object in the drop down. You just need to select which object you want to use to create the data. So let's suppose Salesforce, in the Salesforce we want to create some customer details. We will drag the create. They will provide the connection details. We will provide those connection details inside, and we will select the object. It should be the customer object or employee object or anything. You just need to use that. Whatever the payload you send, that data will be inserted into Salesforce. Do you feel that you need to learn Salesforce now? No, there is no requirement of learning any system now. It's good to have knowledge, but initially, who will learn everything, right? So even in the companies, if you are going as a 2 years or 3 years experience in the MuleSoft, you don't need to tell them that I am using all connectors. Most of the companies are using repeated connectors, which might be a database, which might be the web services, which might be a Salesforce. You can practice on one system perfectly, and you can tell them that I'm using only this, and they can raise any question on that. You can answer it perfectly. You will be selected. That way it should be. Got it?
Yeah, clear. Yeah, one more thing. That is the last and least. So, if I got any place in a company, then what role they can call?
Developer.
Okay. So,
Developer.
developer means that only he is going to develop, or is there any like in such like in software development, like testing is there, designing is there,
Yeah, there are
and
multiple
coding,
phases.
something,
There are
all the kind of
multiple
work is
phases
there, no?
involved.
So, like,
Yeah.
okay,
So there are different
like is
phases
testing
involved
also
here
is
as
there?
well. Testing also there. Okay. So testing part also
Okay.
I will
But
cover. So
the
if you
only
come
one
here,
guy
there is
can handle all the these things, or is there any individual or subdivision work is there?
no. Everything can be handled by the individual developer. If you come here, see the the question what you raised is about testing. MUnit is a testing tool we use for MuleSoft. MUnit. Okay, by using MUnit, we will start developing. We will start testing the code. Okay. So this is the MUnit is a code level testing, which means application level testing. Whatever I develop, I want to test myself, right? Because it's a developer responsibility to test this flow whether it is working fine or not. For that, I use MUnit. By using the MUnit, I will test it. Okay, so it's just like a real-time Java developer. Just for example, if you are a Java developer will develop the code. After that, they will write unit test cases, which is to test their own functionality. Similarly, we will also write the test cases here. It's all simple things. Okay, writing the test cases also like you need to go a minute and generate the flow. It's that simple. Everything is automated here. You don't need to worry about that. Okay, but the only advantage of using Mule application in the place is it's an automated thing, and it is development is very fast. So that is the reason companies are moving now. Okay, don't worry about any other things that how do you learn testing and all. Developing and testing is a part of the developer's responsibility. Flow level testing, not the integration level testing. Integration level testing can be done by the testers, not the developers. Developers will only responsible to develop this flow, and it will be moving back to the GitHub or Bitbucket or anywhere.
Hello.
Answered your question? Yeah.
Yeah, I got. Thank you.
Hello.
Welcome. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, at the end of this course, can you provide the real-time documentation on any real-time projects and for the resume preparation?
Sure.
Because I
I will
came
give
to
some.
know, different companies have the different projects, right? So HSBC, bank projects, sales projects. So there is a lot of things. So how can we manage on that? With one particular
Yeah.
single real-time project or single knowledge, so how can we manage?
Okay, so right now you are into non-technical background, right, Vamshi?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes.
So yeah, so you are working on which domain?
So I'm working on digital operations
Digital operations means like which all will come?
for a Facebook client as a
Yeah, you
content
can
reviewer.
use. Okay, so it won't matter that what project you are keeping there. Okay, you just need to use the resume headlines whatever I am keeping. So whatever I am providing, you need to keep that in your headlines, and you need to explain your current project by relating with the MuleSoft by use it as an integration layer. Then only you will be able to clear the things, because if you are telling some different projects, it might harm you because you won't get much understand, right? I will help you with that. Okay, how do we need to tell in terms of real time examples? and how to keep the projects
So
into resume.
I need to explain the real-time project, the work what I'm working now, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So in the final, we'll be having some discussion, right? That time I will help you guys make you understanding about your current implementation. How do we make it as a real-time project?
Okay.
Okay. So you are working on the digital operations. I will explain how do we make the digital operations into MuleSoft and how can we explain to the client. That means the interviewer saying that I have integrated that and this to MuleSoft and using a middle layer. So you don't need to worry about that. Once you need to get the familiar about the topics, then you can able to explain anything in verbally, right? Interviewer will not ask the questions in practical when it comes to the coming to the project. He might be asking how you implemented this scenario in your project. I have
Okay.
implemented that scenario by using this component, and so the data will be splitted into two different routes, and that can be going to two different systems at a time. That way the interviewer will expect the answer, not the project level. Okay.
Okay. So after if any company will give the project training before moving to project, does any company or they directly pull into any project?
Okay, it depends on your experience, what you are keeping. So if you are keeping 5 6 years experience, obviously they will expect to be in the direct project, right? If you are, let's suppose if you are a 3 years experience guy and you just clear the interview, then it depends again company to company. Some companies will provide the basic KT knowledge, right? So if you are aware of all these topics and this training now, so you'll be able to understand how the things are working in the real time project. I will try to explain one real time project as well. As you guys are non-technical background, I will show how the things works in the real time. Real time
Okay.
project I will explain.
Okay.
Okay, I'm still open for any other questions.
Tomorrow also same time.
Yeah, timing, you guys all needs to be fixed and then we'll be coordinating in the same time. My time is open for this. 7.
Okay.
Any other questions? Cool then. If you still have any questions, so just wanted to understand, okay, who are all going to continue with the session, okay. I wanted to understand, are you guys installed AnyPoint Studio? Have you guys followed installation and set up your environment?
No, not yet. Not.
Okay, you guys not started installation as well, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
So okay, so then tomorrow I will explain how to set up and how to install so that from day one onwards you need to start practicing. Okay,
Okay.
I will give the installation documentation so everyone can follow that documentation, and then I will explain first and then I will share the documentation with you guys so you can start using as a reference and you can install it. Okay, and also just practice some sample hello world thing, and after tomorrow onwards we will start jump into the topics so that whatever I am explaining in the my studio, as soon as the session completes you need to practice in your own system, then you will be perfectly understanding and following me, then you won't face any difficulty.